Questions from either homework set, we can do those now. Ella. Number 10, the answer is 61.07 degrees. Okay. Who's got questions?
Can you do that problem?
Number 10. All right. So number 10 says that VABCD, stop talking please, is a right pyramid on a square base. VO is the vertical height of the pyramid. The length of each side of the square base is 26. And VC, the slant height, is 38. And we want the angle measure for VAC. Okay? Well, this is not so bad. So I'm going to start by drawing my calculation triangle. So the one I'm going to use is VAO. And I know right away that VC and VA are both slant height, so they're both the same measure. We're interested in this angle here, A. We don't know what VO is, and we don't know what AO is, but AO is just half of the diagonal. So if I can find AC, which is easy enough, I know that AO is half of AC, right? So that turns out to be 13 square root 2, or you could have made that a decimal. What would have that been, like 20-ish, 19 something or another?
Oh, I did that.
Okay. So that's 13 square root 2. And now to solve for this angle, I'm going to say that angle VAO is equal to cosine inverse of adjacent over hypotenuse. And when I type that into my calculator, I should have gotten the 6107 that I quoted as the answer. Okay with that, Bella?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, no problem. Who else has questions? Again, from either homework set, you can 1 through 32, they're all fine. Just fire away. Ella? 21? Sure. Okay. So this is 21, you said? This is the right one, correct? Okay. Liquid is poured into a spherical container of height h. The radius of the sphere is 22. The top of the liquid circle is radius 10. Work out the height of the liquid h and then calculate the volume and surface area. Okay. So here's my plan. The volume of the partially filled sphere is going to equal the volume of the sphere minus the empty hemisphere. Is that okay with that idea, Ella? Okay. So the volume of the sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. And the volume of the the empty hemisphere there is 2/3 pi r cubed. So if I do that, I should get the 44,602.24 as quoted in the answer. Are you okay with that plan there, Ella? Does that make sense? Okay. So that was for part A. For part B, my plan is the volume of the partially filled sphere, surface area of the partially filled sphere. So I'm going to have the surface area of the sphere minus the surface area of the empty hemisphere with no base. And then I have to add on the base for the hemisphere. Right, because the circle on top of that partially filled sphere still counts as a surface, right? Is that okay with that plan? Okay. What is the surface area for the sphere? Is that 4 pi r squared? Yes? Do you remember? I think it is, right? Okay. And the surface area for the hemisphere with no base is 2 pi r squared. And then the base for the hemisphere is pi r squared. And when I type that in, I should get the 6,082.12 centimeters squared as quoted in the answers. Does that match? Can you punch that in your calculator real quick and double check my arithmetics there? But I think that's what you needed. Maddie? Oh, do they just want the surface area of the sphere? Well, that's a silly question. I assume they wanted the partially filled stuff. I assumed it wanted the volume of the liquid and the surface area of the liquid. Is that not correct? Interesting. So Maddie's saying that this is all you really, what the answer key gives, or is the answer for the answer key is just this stuff. So I did too much apparently. We'll have to go back and I'll make a note on that. This question needs a little bit of rewording. Let me make a note real quick. This is chapter 9, question 21, reword. Okay. And back to this. So that's even easier then, right, Ella? Okay. You feel okay there? Okay. Who's up next?
Mr. Poole, can you do number 22?
22? I sure hope so. I could not do 21.
It's okay, I think 22 harder.
Well, I mean, like, I did.
Either one.
I think I just misunderstood the directions or something. Like, the stuff that I did, I think, was really good. It just apparently wasn't what the answer or the question was really asking for. Although, it kind of felt like that was what the... Yeah. So this is 22 then, right? Oh yeah, this is quite a bit harder. Okay. All right. So, the volume for the prism is area of the base times the height, right? Okay. The height in this case is the distance between the bases, so that's just 5. Area of the base is going to be the area of this pentagon. So we know that's 2, we know that's 3, and we know that that distance is 4.5. That was all given to us in the directions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn that into just the area of the rectangle plus the triangle. Okay with that, Bella? So the area of the rectangle is easy. That's just going to be 3 times 2. And the area of the triangle is going to be 1/2 base times height. So there's that. Are you okay with how I got the 2.5? Okay. So then if I plug that all in, I should then get the 4875 as quoted in the answers. Somebody want to check that for me? Day of getting these questions right. I mean, just with your calculator, just to make sure that that works out. I think it should. The surface area is going to be a pain in the tuchus, though. So get ready for this. All right, that does work? Okay, good. Thank you guys for checking. The surface area, I have 2 pentagons for the bases. I have a rectangle for the bottom. I have 2 of these rectangles for the sides. And then I have 2 of those rectangles on the roof. Which kind of stinks because each one of those pentagons or those rectangles is a different size. So I have to find the area of 3 different rectangles there. So I have the rectangle for the bottom, the rectangle on the sides, and the rectangle on the roof. Those are 3 different sized rectangles, which is pretty el pupo. But it's not that bad. It's just a little obnoxious. So the rectangle on the bottom is easy. That's just 3 times 5. Nothing to worry about there. The rectangles on the sides are 2 times 5. The roof rectangle, though, is kind of, here's the pain. Sure. Especially now that you've seen it. So I need to figure out that length there for CD. Right? So I'm just going to do the Pythagorean theorem to get that. What is the 2.5 squared plus 1.5 squared square rooted? Has anybody got that? Bridget, are you on it? Okay. 2.92? That sounds about right. And so then we just do that all out. How would this problem be much easier? If that was a regular pentagon, that would make life a lot easier. But it'd be a weird house if you had walls that weren't at right angles, right? I wouldn't want to live in that house. It'd be like living in the Leaning Tower of Pisa or something. Decorating, I feel like, would be hard. Nothing can go on a wall. That's fine. You can paint them. The painting doesn't matter. It's like I can't put a sofa against the wall because it doesn't like go straight up against the wall. Oh, so you're leaning back like this? All right. Bella, are you happy here?
Yeah.
You think you got it?
Yeah. This isn't gonna be on the homework list, right?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Are we gonna do equations?
I'm going to give you things from 1 through 15, so you don't need equations. I mean, yes. So if you look at the review packet, there's an equation sheet on the review packet. That's the same equation sheet you'll get for the test. So when you're doing the review, look at the review or look at the equation sheet. Anything that's not there, you're responsible for, but it's pretty comprehensive. Yes. 2, because they're multiple part questions. Sydney. Will I do number 6?
Oh yeah.
Is 6 the same picture as 21? Yeah. All right. Stop talking, please. No, this is just a question. This is 6. All right. How far is that? That's 22. Why? It's the radius of the sphere. So this part then let's call x. So I know right away h is 22 plus x, right? Everybody's happy with that? Okay. What I need to do is I need to now draw a calculation triangle involving that side x. So that's a right angle, right? So stands to reason that would make my calculation triangle, right? How long is that piece that I just drew in? 22. Why? It's the radius of the sphere. So then you can just do the Pythagorean theorem to calculate x, and your answer is 22 plus that answer. Is that, you happy with that?
Yeah.
So identifying the radii was the trick for that one. But remember, really, like, when you have a sphere or a hemisphere, anything drawn from the center to the surface is a radii. You know, like, that's a radii, that's a radii, that's a radii. You can draw them wherever you want. As long as it's going from the center to the surface, it's a radius. So, Bella, you happy with that?
Can you solve it?
I mean, this comes out to be like 41.6. Is that what you wanted, me to just say the answer?
Well, okay, so after you do that, then the square
Yep.
root of 22.
Well, I mean, x is the square root of 22 squared minus 10 squared,
Okay.
right? Just using the Pythagorean theorem.
And then 22, you add 22 to that.
Yeah. Because we're solving for a leg. That's okay. Depending on how much time you spent with this problem, that may have or may not have been like readily obvious what I did there, why it's subtraction all of a sudden. It's okay to ask. As soon as there's no questions. I know, Olivia, I know. All right. Questions, anybody else? Sounds good. Take out a separate sheet of paper for me.